There it is, Bitcoin on the daily chart. If you like the daily chart as I start this live stream, you know what to do. Smash the like for me. And let's talk about Bitcoin and massive news as it relates to more charts. We're going to look at this chart. It's the CSI 300 index playing into crypto cycles in a bigger than big type of way. So we're going to talk about all of these things. I'm going to start with that news and just discuss what's going on there. And then we are going to dig into the Bitcoin price action that's happening right now, breaking $66,000 very recently, approaching just a very key area. Let's just say this yellow line, an upper trend line, half a year in the making. It's been a while. What's going to happen there? I want to really just discuss that. So please, everybody, hit the subscribe right now if you're not a subscriber. If you're in the chats, if you're a replay viewer, hit the like. If you're a replay viewer, hit timestamps if you'd like. I'll add timestamps when I'm done here. But let's dive into it. I first want to just put this up here and let me know in the comments right now. Where are we? Where do you think we are in the psychology of market cycles? I just wanted to pose that quick question for the comments. I'm very curious where you think we are. I'm having a little trouble with it because I don't want to say I'm in this disbelief phase, but I'm in this phase where I'm like, and I kind of posted this on my post. I said, I can't believe this. And it's because of how all of this data has been coming together. I'm talking about charting data, cycle data, the halvings data, macroeconomic data. I'm talking about all of these things coming together. And it's almost like this just can't be. We can't be on repeat here with these cycles. And that's kind of what's going on in my head. And that for me, that warrants caution. That's just how I am, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, gloating, overly confident, like this cycle, we're about to just explode into another parabolic. We can't be so sure. Anything can happen. So I want to be very aware of that. But I posted this post, I can't believe this. And without even really just reading my post, it's this chart. It's a CSI 300 chart that I really want to discuss with you. And if you're unaware, and most of you probably are aware, China launches late stimulus push to meet 2024 growth target. So what China is doing right now plays very much into this cycle, as many other things do. China's central bank on Friday lowered interest rates and injected liquidity into the banking system as Beijing assembled a last-ditch stimulus assault to pull economic growth back towards this year's roughly 5% target. Chinese stocks are on track for the best week since 2008 on stimulus expectations. So we're talking about China implementing this aggressive monetary policy, and this may be just another catalyst into the parabolic bull. And what I want to do is, I posted in the post on X, I want to look at the chart, right? So China lowering borrowing costs, this can lead to so many bullish things, rate cuts to boost economic recovery. It's going to boost sentiment. Bullish sentiment is obviously going to come into play here on these charts. But here is what is crazy. And this is what I started this post. I was like, I can't believe it. If you've been watching my channel, and it's hard to bring it all together into like a quick synopsis, but with where we are, and this is the CSI 300 index, everybody. This is basically, I should mention, this is like China's version of the S&P 500. Look at this monthly candle that's playing out right now. And if, just to give you an idea, I want to go to the daily. That's the daily chart. This is what the daily chart looks like. So this is a very recent explosion. But let's go back to the monthly because this plays into the cycles of crypto right now. Look at where we are in the cycle. This is another piece of data now. We have the CSI 300 playing into this cycle. Do you see this moment past the yellow line, the Bitcoin halving? What happened basically in previous cycles? Here's last cycle, 4 years ago, the 2020 halving. Look at this CSI 300. You can go to the cycle before that, 2016, making its way to the upside, breaking the 20-week moving average on the CSI 300. And then you can even look post-Bitcoin halving 2012, right? Had a big consolidation and dip, but look at this massive just after the Bitcoin halving. Look at this massive on the monthly uptick. So this trigger happening once again at this moment after the Bitcoin cycle, it blows my mind because like we consistently look at Bitcoin charts and we zoom out in the Bitcoin charts all of the time on this YouTube channel. Especially recently, almost every day, it seems like I'm kind of just integrating some type of new data point onto these charts that really is bullish. And this is just another one. And so China's aggressive kind of approach to easing economic pain at this moment of Bitcoin cycles, so good, everybody. And here we are. And here we are in terms of Bitcoin price. We are on the weekly. This is Bitcoin zoomed out on the weekly. You can see half a year of absolute insanity when it comes to consolidation. It's driven a lot of people crazy. We broke an all-time high prior to the Bitcoin halving. That is a first-time event. And I really want to mention and point out before we dig into the short-term price action of Bitcoin, this isn't going to be a crazy live stream either, by the way. I just want to mention that. But swing high to swing low, the bull market high to bear market low, back to the upside, breaking the Fibonacci green channel. That's the bull market doors, as I call them, for the first time, breaking that area before the Bitcoin halving. I'm mentioning this because as we start dissecting the longer term consolidation here that has been driving a lot of people crazy, the reason for it is because the way in which Bitcoin moved to the upside and to all-time high before the Bitcoin halving is something that has never happened. So we needed this to happen. And so here we are in that consolidation. There are no guarantees that we are breaking out to the upside of this pattern. We want to see it happen. But again, I don't like getting overly confident with anything. And so we can look at the bullish indicators. We can remain optimistic and we can anticipate breakout. We can anticipate the parabolic bull, but I also like to sit here and say, hey, this is crypto. I've been in this space for years and I've seen crazy things happen. So breaking down is not out of the equation. I just want to say that. But here we are, everybody, getting separation from the 20-week moving average. We can start talking bullish a little bit. Getting separation from the 20-week moving average is exactly what we want to see. There's a ceiling, right? Between the 20, it's this, right around 68,000. It is the upper end of this falling, broadening wedge. And then we have all-time high just above that. So to give you an idea, we could start digging into the daily chart just to discuss what could possibly be in store. Resistance, obvious. This is what everybody's going to be looking at right now. One thing I want to mention, though, is this. Yes, we have the upper trend line resistance. One thing that is very bullish that is happening right now on this daily candle, and I don't know how this daily candle will close. This is something I will be watching in basically the next 9 hours, is this. This daily candle is breaking out of this range that you see here. That is a lower high Fibonacci on this pattern that we have here. So what I mean by that is swing high to swing low right here. You can see Bitcoin breaking through that green rectangle. It's a 786 to 618. It's just one of my favorite lower high resistance channels. Bitcoin on the daily chart right now breaking above that. A very good sign, not to mention all of the other bullish indicators. That is to say the 20-day just crossed above the 50-day. We finally have escaped the 200-day. So now the reason why this is so key is not, and I want to be very clear about this because this is huge for me as I'm watching these charts. Bullish indicator, 20-day above the 50. Bullish indicator, breaking finally above the 200 and getting separation. The reason why it's big for me is not because I'm like, you know what? Those are bullish indicators. We are absolutely exploding right now. This is it. We trigger those indicators. It's done. The reason why it's bullish to me as an indicator is because now, especially that we're getting separation, it leaves room for the true flippening, the longer term flippening. It leaves room for dips. We need room for dips. And I mean that in a sense of even in a parabolic bull market, we need room for dips. So we always want to see separation from resistance areas like this Fibonacci, separation from moving averages like we see here, because if there's going to be resistance here, we want room to kind of consolidate back down to test the moving averages as support. So always anticipating these types of moves, because eventually what we're waiting for is that time where the consolidation happens towards the moving averages, right? And finally, there's support there. And it's a higher low, and then we get the breakout. This is why I like to see all of these moving averages broken and separation from the moving averages. It's not because it means we're definitely just breaking out immediately. It's because I'm excited to see that there's now separation and space for the consolidation back to those areas. So that means on the short term, there could be some pain. And it's always something good to keep in mind. But you want to think about upside. You want to talk about what could possibly be in store right now as we have this China stimulus, rate cut news happening amongst everything else that we've been talking about on this YouTube channel that is incredibly bullish. I want to give you a sense of the upside on this daily chart, the upside potential for the breakout for Bitcoin. Look where Bitcoin is right now. It is like, 68 or so on the RSI, slower moving momentum oscillator on Bitcoin. When we had Bitcoin right back here in October, and we'll come back to the daily, but back here in October, breaking above the 20-week moving average as it is right now. And then we had Bitcoin breaking away from the moving average on the RSI as it is right now. And then you can even actually open up Bitcoin on the MACD. You can see MACD, bottom of the screen. We had Bitcoin also, MACD line crossing above red on the signal line, or the red signal line right there. The histogram going green. This is the setup that's like in play right now. When all of those things were happening back in October, Bitcoin daily chart, the RSI was right around the same area. And you might be like, man, but we're close to overbought, right? So that means like we're going to consolidate more. No, making its way to overbought was really the trigger that just set Bitcoin off. So that's what we're looking for, a very similar trigger. And the confluence of all these charts coming together, the weekly, the daily, all of these indicators lining up to look very similar. That's what's playing out right now, everybody. And it's incredibly bullish for not only Bitcoin, but for crypto markets. You want altcoin season? Guess what? The timing of all this, the timing of a Bitcoin breakout, and here's the purple line historically, altcoin season. Talk about it all the time. The timing could not be any better, everybody. So upside potential, just to give you an idea, I mean, from that breakout back then to that swing high, all-time high, almost 200% for Bitcoin. Am I sitting here and saying, okay, from this moment here, let me extend this. Let me open up the chart so I have some room. Am I saying, okay, almost 200% gains for Bitcoin? If I can get there, man, this is higher than I thought. We're looking at 180 some thousand. Interestingly enough, look, it takes us right into the bull market targets that I have, target 1 and 2, which is very much based off of the zoomed out structure of Bitcoin. So yeah, this move could be leading to a move like that. And what I mean by zoomed out structure is people will track a cup and handle here. I like to track this inverse head and shoulders because it's just such a beautiful pattern, and the breakout targets kind of right in there, depending on how you're measuring it. That's why I have such a wide range. You want that parabolic, ridiculous, hopium-filled target too? There it is. There it is for you, everybody. But zoomed out, you can just see kind of, I would say a more realistic range between the two targets, right? So like 130 up to around 280,000 or so is kind of mind-boggling. It's kind of bonkers. So all of this to say, everybody, just yet another indicator when we start zooming out, another indicator when we start waiting for altcoin season. Historically, here's Bitcoin dominance chart, altcoin season, right at this purple line historically. And here we are approaching it. And look at Bitcoin dominance even right now. The biggest thing I'm waiting for on this chart, I'm waiting for the 20-week moving average, that green line, to break. I'm waiting for Bitcoin dominance to fall below it. That's a key indicator that I'm waiting for. So, but right now, even with all this bullish news, Bitcoin dominance falling a little bit on the weekly. I'm not going to sit here and just say like, that's it. Game on. Altcoin season starting, because you all know we could just come down a little bit more and then we can get another swing high. And we can go right to this lower high Fibonacci. And that is like right around 60% to 65% Bitcoin dominance. It's an area that we've had on this chart for quite some time. Bitcoin's been slowly making its way. If you're an altcoin holder, though, I'll tell you one thing. You look at this momentum oscillator on Bitcoin dominance, so kind of falling as Bitcoin dominance trying to creep up. Guess what? That's some bearish divergence here, and we might be in store for that altcoin season. So just so much, everybody. So much. It's very bullish news. It really is. We'll continue seeing how this all comes into play. I would say be cautious. That's my approach, and that's what this whole thing is. This is my view of the markets, my view of what is happening right now. But come on, anytime we're at it, no matter how bullish things are, anytime we're here, upper trend line area, good to be cautious. If we get a breakout, this will be very newsworthy, and I might have to do another video today. But let's continue tracking the markets, everybody. Thanks for cruising by in this live stream. Huge news today. If you're out there, almost 2,000 people this morning. Thank you. I appreciate you just cruising through on this crypto journey with me. It makes doing content so much more fun when I just know there's like so many of you out there. So on your way out, please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. It's free to do, but it means a ton to me. I'm telling you, I'm very grateful for all of your support. So I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned for more. Have an awesome day, and God bless.